Resident Evil Village is nearly here, which also means big fun spooky times with a big beautiful cast of sexy people. And the return of our faceless, but still sexy, protagonist, Ethan Winters, making Village something of a direct sequel to 7, despite that it isn't actually called Resi 8, but still has the Roman numeral branding. Anyways, it's been a few years since Ethan was trudging through the Louisiana swamps to the now snowy depths of a gothic European village. And honestly, remembering what went down is a little fuzzy, as a lot happened in 7. From the Baker family, to a mind-controlling bioweapon, to 2 endings with only one being canon, and the return of handsome McHampsterson, Chris Redfield. With the exception of Chris Redfield, Resident Evil 7 is almost entirely a standalone in the series too, so no need to freshen up on the entire franchise. But if you're interested, we have a dense and detailed complete timeline just for you. Link in the description below. Let's recap what went down in the Baker house all those years ago to prep for our journey to Village. So strap into the wacky train to Resident Evil Town with me, your conductor and tour guide, Kurt Indovina. Previously on Resident Evil. Okay. It's 2017. Ethan Winters is on the search for his missing wife, Mia, who went MIA in 2014 after going on a work trip to babysit. She was presumed dead. However, Ethan gets a tip from her out of nowhere to come and find her in the swamps of Louisiana. It isn't long, though, until Ethan finds himself in an old, rickety-ass abandoned farmhouse and finds Mia no longer MIA, but alive and held captive in a dungeon below the house. While traversing the house, a mysterious woman named Zoe gives Ethan a ring-a-ding-ding and gives him the 1-2 get the f*** out of there through the attic. Oh, but unfortunately, Mia has changed a little over the past couple of years. She goes berserk, and poor little Ethan ends up having to kill Mia after she cuts his hand off with a chainsaw. And just as he makes his escape, he's knocked out by none other than Jack Daddy Baker.
Welcome to the family, son.
Ethan wakes up to a quaint dinner with a lovely family. How nice. Well, at least Ethan's hand has been stapled back on. Ethan breaks free and then do-si-does his way around a famously cryptic and confused Resident Evil house with arbitrary puzzles, locked doors with emblems, and statues holding valuable items that otherwise trigger booby traps. Anyway, Ethan gets another call from his secret admirer, Zoe, who happens to be the Baker family daughter. Speaking of the Bakers, they have regenerative powers, something Ethan learns quite intimately after a little run-in with Jack.
To see someone.
What's in the Louisiana water and where can I get some? On second thought, I'll pass.
What the fuck?
In another one of her trademark phone calls, Zoe reveals that Mia is alive and infected with the same regenerative virus as the Baker clan. Ethan turns into a fetch quest boy for Zoe and goes to gather the necessary ingredients to create a serum that'll cure both Zoe and Mia of the regenerative infection thing. While Ethan's again do-si-doing around and busy killing Baker Mama Marguerite, the Baker's son Lucas captures both Mia and Zoe. In order to rescue them, Ethan has to go through one of Lucas's Saw-like obstacle courses. But just as Ethan is about to get that serum, bam! Big Bad Daddy Jack slams into scene, leaving Ethan no choice but to use it on Jack and kill him permanently, leaving Ethan only one serum to use and having to choose between Zoe and Mia.
What the hell are we gonna do now?
Okay, so this is where gets a little weird with the timeline between Resident Evil 7 and Village. While there's only 2 paths which lead to only slightly different outcomes, only one of the endings seems canonical to Village. So let's just get the non-canon one out of the way first.
No.
I'm sorry. I really am.
So let's say Ethan chooses Zoe. Mia is left behind with a broken heart, even though Ethan promises to send help. On this path, Zoe and Ethan hop on a boat, and she reveals to him that the Bakers first became infected after Mia walked into their lives with a little girl named Evelyn 3 years back, which is when Mia went all MIA. On their way, they pass by a giant wrecked tanker ship, and in this moment, Zoe is killed, and giant sludge tentacles knock Ethan out. While unconscious, Ethan has a vision of chit-chatting with a sane Jack Baker, who is communicating with him somehow? Telepathically? Anyway, the now sane Jack tells Ethan that the entire Baker family has been under Evelyn's mind control, which is what drove the Baker family mad to begin with. And now Ethan's got to put Evelyn down in order to end all of this.
Free my family. Please.
It then switches to Mia's perspective, who finds herself on the wrecked ship and trying to rescue Ethan. How romantic. When Ethan comes to, Mia is there. However, she goes all possess mode again and struggles to grapple with Ethan's choosing of Zoe Homewrecker Baker. Mia's changing is, of course, a result of Evelyn's mind control, and once again, Ethan is forced to kill her.
Oh, kill that.
Okay, now let's rewind. In this other timeline, Ethan chooses Mia because, duh, it's his wife and stuff, and clearly he's been through some shit already that he can forgive her for cutting his hand off. Cue Ethan getting knocked out, conversation with Jack, Mia rescues Ethan, bim bam boom. But in this path, Mia manages to lock herself in the ship as Evelyn takes control, giving Ethan the chance to escape and not kill Mia again.
Now go kill that little bitch.
Alright. So, as it turns out, Mia has been working with an international criminal organization called The Connections, who specialize in bioweapons. Her job was to be a caretaker for Evelyn, a bioengineered weapon referred to as the E-type. Evelyn can infect people with a psychotropic mold that allows her to mind control them, and that whole regenerative thing is actually just a side effect. While on the boat, a hurricane rolled in, hitting the ship hard, which gave Evelyn a window of opportunity to take matters into her own hands, infecting the entire ship with her moldy, gooey powers. That is, until the ship is destroyed and washes on land. In the wreckage, Jack Baker finds Mia and Evelyn and takes them into his home. Now, considering Evelyn is a bioengineered person and all, she wants nothing more than a family of her own. So, using her powers, she takes over the Baker family, driving them to insanity. Also, gotcha, Granny Baker has actually been Evelyn the whole time. Ethan and Mia cook up a toxin to kill the bitch once and for all, and the old bag is obviously like, yo, nah. She turns into a giant face. Apparently, that's what you do when you got super moldy, gooey powers. And like all Resident Evils before it, a conveniently placed weapon is dropped into Ethan's hands, and he kills Evelyn, for good. That special weapon fell from the heavens above. Mr. McHamsterson Redfield, who flew in on a helicopter donned with a blue Umbrella logo, which is like the good version of the Umbrella Corporation, formed to instead combat bioterrorism instead of make it. In the case Ethan chose Zoe, Ethan ends up leaving on the helicopter with only Mia's belongings, which he tosses off. If you chose this ending, then well, your choice doesn't actually matter, because Mia's in Resident Evil Village, and Ethan and her have a kid. Then Chris just shows up and kills her anyway, right in the trailer, so she dies. Again, supposedly. That poor woman. She literally exists to get killed, over and over and over again. She's like Resident Evil's punching bag. She'll probably be in Resident 9. And yet still, we have no idea if anything I just went over will have anything to do with Village at all. There are so many questions to be answered. Why is Chris Redfield a total dick now? Why is Ethan and Mia's kid so damn important? And will Ethan get stepped on? May 7th couldn't come soon enough. Alright, that's it. Thanks for coming along this wild ride. Again, I'm your travel guide, Kurt Indovina. You can bug me on Twitter at Kurt_Indovina. Now that we're done with the Baker family and sludge people, on with werewolves, big vampire ladies, this suave looking fella, and this Van Helsing looking son of a bitch. Let's get it!